we get to Q&A, I want to kind of throw a toss-up question out there. I'm going to ask each of you the same question to answer, and that's, what's the biggest piece of advice? We've talked about a number of things of advice in this session today. What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to an on-premise SAP payroll customer who's looking for ways to optimize what they've got in their existing processes? So I'm going to start, Steve. Well, we'll start with you. We were just talking. You're all warmed up and ready to go. So we'll start with you.
Still warmed up.
Around.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have a whole methodology around payroll optimization. I really think there's a lot of payoff there, but it requires some effort, some persistence, and some resources. Optimization doesn't just happen on its own. It's not free. If it was free, what Mary told us about the sort of hairy payroll process they have sometimes, it wouldn't be like that, right? If optimization was free and easy, everyone would have it, but not everyone does. But here it is, bottom line, simple. Simplify, streamline, and standardize. The 3 S's. Look at your inputs, your processes, your outputs. Make a list of how you can simplify, streamline, and standardize them. Make a list, size it small, medium, large, and then start working on some of those small things. And once you get those small wins, you free up extra effort. Maybe you can take some of the medium-sized efforts and work on those. Start small, work your way up to bigger things. It takes resources, right? And that's where some customers get tripped up, because you don't have the resources. But if you start small and you free up people's time, then maybe use that freed up time to work on the other things, right? So you can sort of start like that. Take a look, keep an open mind. Maybe you outsource tax compliance or garnishments. Maybe you get a third-party reporting tool. I mean, I love Spinifex, the Easy Reporter. It's a great tool, and it has a lot of payoff to it, and especially when integrated with Payroll Control Center, it's awesome. But keep an open mind to that, and as Mary said, think about, well, what if we put everyone on the same pay frequency, right? So that's not, I mean, there's some system work there, but it's a lot more change management, right? But there can be a lot of payoff. So keep your mind open to those sorts of things. And then I think Brian said it, make that part of your continuous improvement process. Just make it part of your payroll life.
I agree with everything that Steve said, so there's not a whole lot to add to that. But one thing is, a lot of people jump right to, like, I want to implement a solution. This is my problem. This is my solution. Bang, let's do it. And one of my good friends always says, how long do you have to work on what is not the problem before you'll resolve it? And it's a pretty long time. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we kind of work at the wrong problem, or just understanding the question is the biggest part of the game, I think. And the advice I would give with that is, think about doing a deep discovery before implementing. Really take the time to understand what your needs are before you settle on actually what the solution is that you're moving towards. And independent consultants can help you with that. Also, some vendors can, as long as you know that their advice is coming with a point of view. But deep discovery is really good. That allows you to kind of identify and catalog your pain points and your opportunities, get them all together. And you can even begin then to move into a pilot type situation where you can prove out the solutions or prototype some of the solutions. It is true that you don't buy a car without a test drive. So why do you buy a payroll system without a test drive? Is it worth investing a little bit of time and money to make sure that you're going to get it right? And hopefully no one's moving to a new payroll system. But if you did and you tried to drive it before you went out there, you'd find that there's all kinds of things that don't work as well as your current one does, because you've grown it to be what it is. But I think those two things, deep discovery and pilots, are really good risk reduction strategies that can help you to have a more successful innovation.
Yeah, Brian, I'd say you could also test drive your consultant too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation. I mean, obviously, we work on a lot of different projects, and you do see, even in the same company, also you see good ones and bad ones, but you'll see how they approach things from a methodology standpoint, and how they engage with you.
Yep.
And to see if it's a cultural fit as well.
Yeah.
Kind of what Steve said, utilize all your resources. You know, we've been doing payroll for 24 years here, and I just recently had payroll reach out to me to use SpinifeX to release their wage type statements. They've still been manually distributing them, but it takes
Simple but effective, right?
a simple but very beneficial.
Mhm.
What a time saver, all
Mhm.
automated, but small steps. It took 24 years to get there.
Yeah, and there's always sometimes it's making better advantage of taking better advantage of what you have already.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is looking outside and finding additional solutions and tools that you can bring in that'll help. But starting with what you have in-house and utilizing that is what a lot of customers really don't do. So that's actually a great answer. So conscious of time, it's 40 minutes past the hour, so I'm going to jump into Q&A. So anyone, the attendees, if you've got questions, you can type it into the Q&A section at the bottom. That's where we're going to be reading from. There's a question in there. I'm going to toss it up, and then any of you may answer it.